Welcome back, everybody. We're back here at VCD today. We got our boy Lewis, who's never paying attention to anything we say or do here. You know, we got him to help us out on a little install that we posted the other day. We're going to go ahead and install Rywire's ground cable kit today. And yes, to answer everybody's questions that they hit me up on Instagram, the Rywire kit is not specific to the Type R, to be 100%, and that's why we're going to go ahead and test it today. But I wanted you guys to check out the Rywire kit. It's really well built. The only difference that Rywire has is they have this nice little product placement here, and what I've noticed so far is how they manufacture theirs. If I can get this thing to focus in on us, which we can't. All right, there you go. I noticed that Rywire has heat shrink, which the other brand does, but if you see that little bit of silicone hanging out there, I think that's the extra touch that Rywire does. Now, what's suspect so far for the Rywire kit is you see how large the screw hole is? Look at it on the stock one. It's a little smaller, and that's what we're gonna test out today to see if it actually works, because even in here, it's a little smaller compared to the dimensions of Rywire's. See how big it is? Watch, let me just kind of, see that? So we're not sure if we're gonna have issues with that. We're gonna see what we can do. We might need to do a little bit of manufacturing to get it to work right. That's why we got here Lewis here today that's gonna talk to us about what we're gonna do. All right, we just had a little bit of miscommunication here. But Lewis is going to explain to us exactly what we're going to do to install this Rywire ground kit to the Type R.
Okay, so with this little kit, you actually does include about 4 different wires. We are going to try to use the longest and the thickest one for the main battery, which is going to be this point right here, to the frame point, which is right here. It is going to be a lot thicker compared to the OEM one, so we're going to try to make it look as clean as possible, and maybe if we have to zip tie it to maybe the power or to the ground one, I mean, we'll figure it out. And then you have another little question right here is like, why do you have 3? We only have 2 points, so we're probably not going to use one. So this one we're probably just going to leave out of the way. We're going to try to use the one where it has like obviously the Rywire branding, and we're going to try to attach it to the actual engine side of the ground, which is going to be here to this main engine mount. Yours might look different unless you have the Hashport ones. It's literally the same thing. It's just, I think the OEM was a little bit taller. And as you can see here, we also do have the radium expansion tank, so this is going to make this job a lot easier. If you don't, you will have to pretty much loosen up the stock coolant tank and just move it out of the way so you can get back here to this 10 bolt, which is right behind this little bracket right here. If you can see, I'm pulling up the wire so it runs from here down into the frame right here. So for us, since we've already modded this car so much, it's going to be a lot faster and simpler. And then your last ground is going to go right here to the transmission, which is going to be this little connection here to the frame right here. Yeah, basically, just a quick recap. We're going to remove the battery one, the transmission, and then we're just going to remove the main engine one on that side. So pretty simple. It should take us around like 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll show you how it all looks, and we'll get right back to you.
Okay, boys. So far, step 1 is we're removing the 10 millimeter bolts from the frame and from the negative side of the battery. We are going to be replacing that whole cable, which is this guy right here. And we'll measure it next to the Rywire one so you can actually see what the length is. And if you don't have a strut bar, there is a little locking nut that goes on here that also connects to here that you're gonna have to remove that. We took that off a long time ago.
So here's your OEM one, and here's the new Rywire one. As you can tell, there's a really big length difference.
All right, boys, to answer your question, does the Rywire kit work with the OEM hardware? Yes. Now, the hole is a tight bigger.
I think just placing it right and locking at the right point, you should be perfectly fine.
Exactly, as you can tell right here how Lewis just locked it up. We haven't even tightened it up yet, but so far it's gonna fit pretty snug. We decided that we are gonna use the stock mount point because like he said, we can kind of wire it down and mount it to another spot. We could have even mounted it down there, huh?
Yeah.
But for the sake of me being a worrywart, we're just gonna mount it to the regular spots. We might zip tie this one to this one, or depending on how the fit looks. If it looks okay, we're just gonna leave it. Not, we'll zip tie it, make it look a little cleaner.
I think this one is gonna be the one that you guys are really looking for, because I know this is kind of the most, all these other two ones are pretty simple. They're gonna go literally to the stock points, but we're gonna try to see how it looks best. So if you guys do see the video, this is the one you guys are gonna be thinking about. Like how is this one gonna mount? This is the one that you see every day. And obviously you wanna see the Rywire because you bought it, right? Like it's product placement, you know? Let's try to, I mean, I'm not really worried about these two lower ones. Like, you're not even gonna see them.
Yeah, because bear in mind that 2 of them don't have any Rywire logo.
So that's what I'm guessing why the main ones have the logo on it. So because that one you can see on that side, but this one you're not going to be able to see at all for the transmission because it's under everything.
And remember, when I spoke to the guys over at Rywire, it's like a tongue twister, but when I spoke to the guys over there, they told me that this is a universal kit. So this will work on your SI. This will work on your K20 swap. You know, this will work on all Hondas. Bear in mind, this is not made specifically for the R. Once we get the other kit by Hard Race, that one will be specific to a 10th gen. That one is more specific to this type of car, which will make it a lot tighter, better fit, which we'll compare it. I mean, we're gonna compare it on the shop car, and we'll make sure that we give you guys another view of how it'll look on an SI.
So then if you see here, I've already locked it, but this is pretty much how perfect it's gonna fit. You shouldn't have an issue with it not clearing it. It's just placing it, and then you can see it's locked nice and tight. If you do want to torque it, it's about 9 pounds. It's just like a 10 mil bolt, that's about it.
I didn't pay for the torque package again, so.
No, this is all testing stuff, so.
They never let me pay for the torque package here. All right, we determined this is gonna be the fit. Brought the cable around, stuffed it in here. We are going to zip tie it right here, maybe even right here somewhere. I wanted to make sure it was still accessible when you need to open this sucker up. You know, I wanted to make sure it's accessible, which it is. It gives plenty of clearance, so you can stick your socket in and it'll be just fine. Let's see, it fit pretty nice, pretty good fit. Looks good too. And we're zip tying it just so I could stay in place. We're moving on down to the
customer car
transmission one. Again, it's a 10 mil. Super simple to get to, as long as you have the right tools for the job. All we used was a 10 mil deep socket and an extended long ratchet.
And then here's your little tiny boy.
Sticker, huh?
Yeah, lucky this one.
And it's placed differently. Okay, boys. Went ahead and put in the Rywire ground cable to the transmission. That's it right here. It loops all the way around. And then it goes connected. Let's see if I can get you guys a shot there. As you can tell, it's way longer than the one Honda gives you. Way longer. And again, I think the Hard Race kit is going to be specifically this size compared to the Rywire one. But again, like I said, we're going to try out both. We'll see what's up. See how they fit, see how they look. So far, Rywire is the leader in the clubhouse compared to the OEM. And for reasons like I've been telling you, yes, it comes nicely wrapped and all this and all that. But see how these are exposed right here? Nothing bad, but I think over time, when it rains, moisture, dirt, etc., heat,
you know
I
what,
think
that
this starts.
is true, because I have seen a lot of cars, even like new tensions, when they've like either from they're up north or anything like that, they do tend to like fall apart, the plastics, because this is just like this is electrical tape.
Yeah.
And that's just like a little thing. So I mean, that is true. That is true.
Probably gets corroded a lot quicker,
green, yeah.
becomes brittle. And I had a Civic back in the day that the car wouldn't start. We didn't know what the hell was wrong with it. And it ended up being If you guys are familiar with the old B16s, there's a ground wire that comes from here to here, and there's another one down below. Well, both of them were cracked. You couldn't tell because it had this cover on it. So you really couldn't tell that the ground cables were cracked from old age. And as soon as I replaced those, the car started right up. It cost me a lot of money because the people who were diagnosing the car didn't even catch it either. It just, you know, out of a whim, I just changed it and it worked. But see how these are exposed compared to the Rywires? They're nice and heat shrinked and covered up, which I think will protect you for the elements, especially you boys on the East Coast and the boys that live on the West Coast up north where it rains a lot, like Lewis was saying. Now we're gonna do the mount that connects from the motor mount. I said mount, yeah. We're gonna do the wire that connects from the motor mount to the back over here. Lewis has already replaced, actually taken it off. And see how Rywire's kit doesn't provide the mount point. See how this is L-shaped? See this bracket? It's like an L-shaped bracket. Rywire's, again, this is a universal kit. Again, we're gonna try out, see how this works, see how it mounts. I'm sure we're not gonna have any issue with it as we haven't had for the other two. Okay, so we're playing around with the fitment of the Rywire cable. It is significantly longer than the stock one. And like I told you a moment ago, the brackets are different, so you gotta kind of play around with the way you're installing it. Lewis has the upper hand on it right now, where he's getting into it.
It's gonna have to go this way, because the big problem is that it's long, so what could happen is it could get the belt if it gets too hot. So what I did is I put it under this body harness here, so I can kind of have like a support, and then we could still see the wire. I'm gonna loosen this one and kind of twist it a little bit more. So I'm gonna loosen this one. So I think like this would be like the best way it's gonna be able to be visible.
Product placement is key, folks. Gotta get them sponsors. You listening, Rywire? Gotta get that sponsor. We got plenty of race cars here at this shop. Hint, we're putting together another vehicle, all-wheel drive, if you want to help us out.
Damn, I might put the motorcycle.
Right, Lewis? We don't want to give away too much, but if you're interested, reach out to VCD. I'm telling you guys, we got something cooking. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Remember, total time that this would take you if you weren't talking like we are, this would probably take you maybe a good 10, 15 minutes. And maybe 5 or 10 of those minutes is because you're gonna take away the intake. Otherwise, this would be a quick install. If you didn't even do that one, like I said, because the wire is a little longer, you know, you don't need to. But even if you didn't do that one, it would take you, what, 10 minutes?
I mean,
maybe less.
Everyone likes to take their time, you know.
But see, like we're trying to point out to you. Let me see what I can get in here. The Rywire cable is that one. See it there? Let me get the light off of it. All right. And he put it underneath this harness right there, that black one. And then he brought it straight under. The reason you see all that coolant residue and whatnot is just because of the radium expansion tank, the hose, that little hose that I'm pointing at with the light right there. We need to change it to get a longer one so it kind of funnels down into the wheel well. Because right now, when we warm up the car, the last couple times we've gone to the, actually to Mexico, the expansion tank kind of bleeds out, lets out. And the hose is pretty small, as you could tell. It's not that big, see? And it wants to leak down into the wheel well, which makes a freaking mess. I try and clean it up all the time.
12 seconds later.
All right, boys. This concludes the install of the Rywire ground kit. Remember, we went ahead and did the main battery negative cable. We did mount it to the stock points. Again, to your liking, you can always mount it however you like. We zip tied it here. We also did the transmission one, which is down there. And we concluded it with the mount, the engine mount ground cable, which is down in there. And as you saw, we did the little trick where we tucked it underneath the harness. We are not going to bore you and put everything together here, because for what, you guys already have seen this 1,000 times. But I do appreciate you guys watching. I do appreciate everybody that does subscribe, that does hit the bell, that does send us comments. I appreciate it. I know the boys over here at VCD appreciate it. If you guys have any install questions, go ahead and bug him. He'll let you know all the info you need versus me. But no, again, like I said before, if you guys have any questions, shoot us, either him at VCD Racing on Instagram, or you know us at CTR27322. You can always hit us up. I'll answer the questions, but more than likely when you guys ask questions, so I know I'm 100%, I ask this guy.
Yeah, so I mean, either way, if you guys do send us a message, we'll try to get back to you. We do have a lot of DMs that we try to go through every day, but
we will get back to you. And again, if you have questions, let me know. I appreciate all the loyal subscribers and questions. And again, if you guys have questions on this, let me know. I'll see you guys next time.